What is going on, Surgeaholics? Welcome back, Sooner Surge, podcast that tells it like it is on this Friday Night Live. Appreciate you joining us as always in the chat. We will open phone lines up soon. Yeah, Fasusi playing his last high school game at the Polynesian Bowl. Welcome Chester, Monty, Adrian, Damon. We could go down the list. A lot of y'all already on here. Happy Friday to everybody. Hope everybody's doing good. Jerm, how you doing?
Busy, long day, man.
Glad it's Friday. 3-day weekend, right?
3-day weekend, and it's another day closer to the Natty Championship game on Monday night. Another day closer to seeing if Jim Knowles gets an interview at the University of Oklahoma.
We'll see. Good evening, KB. Thinking of you and family, as I know you got some big things on the horizon coming up in the next few days. So thinking about you guys and Greg as well, Coconut Greg. So some big changes there. So, yeah.
Sooner fan, correct. Getting a new high school, it's going to be awesome. My oldest will be probably a senior when it's completed, and then my two younger kids will get to experience it. It's great. Hey, next week will be fun. Next week will be fun, Rhino. Hey, FanStop says, crazy stuff with the Wisconsin player that transferred to Miami, Jay.
I must have missed something on this. Did I miss something? Hunter, did I miss something on this? The Wisconsin. What's that?
Oh, I was going to this comment about the end of the week, sources, info, reveal night. I've already talked about that.
Somebody's going to have to reveal the Wisconsin.
Now, I tell you about the NCAA can't get any worse, Jay, is the Florida situation.
But wait, what's the Wisconsin-Miami situation, Jerm?
Hunter put it in there. Is the guy's name. I couldn't remember the guy's name.
Oh, so he didn't enter the portal, but he went to Miami? Is that the deal?
Can you do that, though?
You shouldn't be able to do that. He shouldn't be able to play this year until the spring. He should have to wait till spring.
Yeah, what do you mean wait till spring?
Like you can enter the portal in the spring now, but he shouldn't be able to enroll in classes and be able to practice with his team. It's too late.
Right, but if he gets to school there before it starts, it's not going to be too late, Jay.
School's already started, Jerm.
I didn't know when Miami starts.
It started when everybody started. It's too late. He should have to wait.
But Jay, you have to understand something, Jay. 18 to 22-year-old kids, you realize they run the roost now?
Well, here it is what Hunter says.
Basically, you can do whatever you want, Jay.
A freshman this past season withdrew from class at Wisconsin and enrolled in academically at Miami. By not formally signing with Miami, he presumably skirts any NCAA transfer rules. He enrolled for the fall 2025 semester, but is expected to be reclassified to spring 2025. So he can do whatever he wants, basically.
He signed a 2-year revenue share agreement with Wisconsin. Wisconsin then denied his entry to transfer portal. Hey, how many guys have been denied entry into a portal? Only been a couple of guys. Basically, Fickle blocked him.
Hey, Johnson's got some big news here. And Johnson says, on a serious note, my daughter is a level 10 gymnast, just had the highest bar score tonight in Irving, Texas meet, and was on her way of winning all around, but hurt her knee on the beam and dismount. Need prayers from Surge family. Hey, first off, Johnson, that's awesome accomplishment. And it sounds like great gymnast she is. But definitely we'll be praying for good news.
Hey, question for Johnson.
Doctors and everything. What's that?
Is the meet over with tonight? Is there more for the weekend? Is she definitely out on those? Appreciate you sharing that info, Johnson.
Yeah, a lot of people saying it in the comments.
we'll be sure to lift her up.
Hey, Johnson,
how old was she? I don't know if there's any age, but yeah, teens and injuries, especially when you're very, very elite at a sport, are very hard to deal with. But I know Johnson will be able to encourage as the parent.
Yeah. So, yeah. A lot of people talking about
Jay, the Wisconsin stuff.
Yeah.
All it proves is, again, college kids are running the show.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know the whole.
No blame to them. No blame to them. The NCAA is going to enable you.
I don't know the whole situation, but it sounds like, and if you want to talk about the NCAA, the tradition, the normal thing that the NCAA does is this. The stuff that you would think would be a problem, they don't mess with. The stuff that you wouldn't think would be an issue, they put people, give them on probation. Like, go back and look at the OSU basketball stuff. They got screwed. They got hosed. Come on. I mean, they got hosed.
I'm confused by this comment. Sooner fan says was listening to Trey Burnell today on the Sports Animal. They both don't think Knowles is coming. And they both don't think. So they don't think Knowles is coming, but you're saying Al seems to think that BV has been told to let the new DC run their own defense. I'm so confused.
Who would that be?
If the new DC is running their own defense, who's it going to be outside of Knowles? I mean, you don't want Wes Goodwin running his own defense. It's basically BV's anyway.
Jim Knowles will officially announce his portal intentions Wednesday of next week. Yeah,
I've always liked Rhino 26 on here. One of my faves, and he's in my league right there talking about that Jim Knowles stuff, Jay. He's right where I want to be too.
Yeah, Johnson said a daughter's a senior, so was qualified for the event final. So, man.
Is she going to go to OU? Is she going to go to OU, be an OU gymnast?
Yeah, OU's playing tonight, gymnast. And Hunter says, according to Heitner, Lucas and his family, in an act of desperation, reached out to Wisconsin head coach last week to plead for an explanation and to reconsider the decision. The coach instead attempted to convince Lucas to remain at Wisconsin. So there it is. Jeremy just literally stood up and walked off. I think are you entering the portal? Where are you going? You're muted. You're muted.
Not on my A game, Jay. Had to close the door.
Yeah. Lucas
Xavier.
From Wisconsin.
Jay, the Florida stuff's outrageous, man.
Which one are you talking about for Florida?
NCAA just doing this.
On the basketball?
Assistant coach.
Well, the head coach has already been in trouble for that, and he's doing this to him too.
I've got a trivia question early on. Trivia question early on for the Surgeaholics. First, check out the FanStop. TheFanStop.com. The apparel there is top notch. It's officially licensed. It's Oklahoma-owned company. Great people at the FanStop. And go look at their Shirt of the Month Club. It's unbelievable. You can choose the package that you want. Use code SURGE, get 10% off your first 3 months. TheFanStop.com. Here's an early trivia on a Friday night. It's early. I just did this.
Is this a movie or a movie or TV one?
It's a book.
Oh, jeez.
There's the phrase of, I'm just going to wash my hands of it. Be done with it. Just be done with it. Wash my hands of it. What book did that come from? That saying, it originate from?
And I've had eye issues today, so I'm not. It has nothing to do with you. I'm serious. I've been eye.
And if you need a hint, if I don't see
the Bible, Damon says. Yeah, I feel like that too, Hunter. This is the worst trivia question I've ever heard in my life.
Okay, I'll give you a clue. And the Bible, I'm not sure the Bible has the wash your hands of it. Wash your hands of it. I'm thinking of a play, guys. It's a play.
What is going on? Can we just nix this? I mean, this is so bad of a trivia question. I mean, golly. What is that trivia question? The Bible, everybody says, Germ. Pontius Pilate. Yeah, that's correct.
That is correct. Pontius Pilate.
Is that what you're talking about? No.
I should have rephrased the question, Jay.
Man, Germ, this may be the worst trivia question you've ever asked. So
I should have rephrased my question.
Just tell us. We're going to nix this trivia. I got a better trivia for later. Nix it and just tell us what book you're talking about so we can move on, please.
It was Macbeth.
geez.
And it was based off the Pontius Pilate. Yes.
First off, I bet you.
Forgive me. I've been at the. Forgive me. I was at the Children's Hospital until about 10 minutes ago. But I'm not thinking.
Jerm, I bet everybody in here. I bet maybe 2 or 3 people have read the book Macbeth. Maybe people have watched the movie.
Best Shakespeare. It's the best Shakespeare
movie. Play. I don't know about reading the book, but yeah, movie. Or play. Hey, Sooner Thrawn says if Porter loses tomorrow, should they fire him? They won't, but should they? Yeah, they won't because they're not going to fire a person mid-season. A lot of people thought he should have been fired last year.
He should be fired, but they won't. And Coconut Greg says, out, brief candle life is but a walking shadow. Jay, that's over your head. Great God, they're tied up earlier. They were tied up just a few minutes ago.
They're hanging in there. They were down 20 at half. They're hanging in there without SGA.
Bad loss. You lose that. It's a bad loss, Great God.
Matt Rhodes is predicting OU to lose tomorrow. If they lose to South Carolina, guys, they may not win a game in the SEC. They may not win a game if that's the case.
And I've got to start I got to start. You got to question the OKC Thunder training staff. It's unbelievable.
Oh, geez.
Hartenstein again. Chet Holmgren. Jay Will was out for a while. Now Shea, it's kind of ridiculous.
Hey, while we're at it, I'm going to go and throw the real trivia question out. Okay. And this is the real trivia question from somebody who gives trivia every night. It's an actual trivia question. So when Jerm opens his mouth for trivia, you know it's not going to be very good. But here's a real trivia question for y'all tonight. Like Jerm said, make sure you check out the Fan Stop. But here we go. The year was 2009 OU football season. Had supposed going to be a really good team. That was the year Bradford got hurt. Well, the 2010 draft, they had 7 players drafted. They had 3. It was historical. 3 of the top 4 draft picks in that draft were OU players. But I'm not asking you who 3 of the first 4 are. I'm asking who was the last person drafted from OU that year. Number 7. He was the 7th guy drafted from Oklahoma that year. Who was it? It's a tough trivia.
I want to get to the GM stuff after the trivia. Sooner Cowboy. There is no chance they're going defeated. They're going to win a game. Okay.
Sooner fans on the right track here. Kinda. The first tight end that you could say Jermaine Gresham was the 4th pick. There it is, right there.
There it is, right there.
Brody Eldridge. 7th. He got drafted. He was the 7th Sooner drafted. Good job, Michael.
Let's get right to it. It's Friday night. It's going to be fun because it's here at the Sooner Surge. But there was talk that surfaced today that DeMarco Murray, along with the name of Tashard Choice. Sorry, I meant Rashad Samples. Tashard Choice, DeMarco Murray's name, both being linked, connected to possibly a running back coach in Dallas, depending on what happens. Okay, so that's one thing. Second of all, there's the GM talk, Jay, and I want to talk on both of those. First, if DeMarco Murray goes to Dallas to be a coach, I'm okay with it. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and whine about it and be upset. I just won't.
Well, okay, go ahead.
I just won't be, Jay. Second of all, the GM stuff. People are asking who they're going to go after for GM. Well, who they need to go after is someone who has a background in GMology, okay? Not geology, GMology. They need to have a background in GMology. Speak the language, know their stuff.
Who would that be?
Done it at a high level.
Who would that be?
Someone who's done it, Jay. Go look, get a guy from the NFL. Get a guy from Major League Baseball. Get a guy from a big-time league.
Yeah, and I see people putting some stuff, NFL front office exec and stuff. It is where the game's going. But, Jeremy, the first thing you touched on with DeMarco Murray. Here's the thing about DeMarco Murray. You can say all that, and that's great. But who would they bring in? And who? I mean, if they brought a guy in that's not very good recruiting, I mean, if they would go make a really good hire, Jeremy, I'm for it. I'm still probably for it. But it doesn't matter. They're not getting rid of DeMarco Murray unless DeMarco Murray chooses to leave.
Well, I got some names.
It's not like they're pushing him out. I got names too. I got a lot of names, but I'm just saying I'd have to wait and see who they hired. They could hire some no name. I would put it past them right now.
Outside of recruiting, DeMarco Murray hasn't done anything.
I agree with that. And I agree with this too. You can be afraid of change. It's needed. I get it. But this isn't and that name's been thrown out there a lot, 918. I agree. Alonzo Dotson, it's been thrown out there a lot. Right now, if you told me,
but drop his experience in here.
If you told me right now, Michael Neal, Murray leaves and you'd get Samples or Drayton, okay, sign me up all day long. Both those guys would be great hires if DeMarco leaves. Those guys would be great.
No, hey, I see what Daniel says. Daniel says if Jay Boulware can coach running backs, they don't need to get some genius. Trust me. That's coming from a guy.
Where's Boulware at?
No. Jay Boulware.
Oh, I see what he's saying. I see what he's saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, and by the way, a lot of the talk, I mean, how much Kel Gundy did at OU to help some of the other coaches out? Maybe even Murray and some others.
Hunter, can you look something up for me? Real quick.
His most recent is the national scout for Bills.
Hunter, look something up for me. See how fast you can find this. Running back coach in the NFL, how much do they make?
I don't know, Jay, but Stan Drayton I would take Drayton over Samples. I think Drayton would come before Samples. Samples out of Oregon.
It depends on what. Yeah, I mean, probably. $300K. Look at that. You think he would leave for that?
It's the NFL and it's Dallas, Jay. And if Dion's there, he might get to work with Prime. I mean, there'd be a lot of things pulling him that way.
I'm not going to make. I don't know on coaches for OU if they're going to leave or not.
Can we stop about the Kel Gundy stuff? It's not like
it was to get the comment in there every night. Somebody puts it in there. Jamal Singleton, Daniel Brooks says, and Drayton would be Greg Ott's first call. I agree. He's not coaching right now. He's been great wherever he's been, except as a head coach. I think he'd be great. Now, Daniel Brooks says Jamal Singleton recruited him. Great coach. Tashard Choice, $550,000. DeMarco Murray's getting $1 million, isn't he? Close to it, I think. Do we know how much he was making last year? I thought he was making close to $1 million. I may be totally off base with that. I might be totally off. But I know he got a raise. I thought he used the trip to Ohio State to get close to $1 million. I thought he got quite a bit too.
Now listen, Lane. I will agree with you here, Lane. Penn State's running backs are always top notch. I mean, you can name tons of running backs. Heck, they have Katron Allen and Singleton this year that are both great. Hey, Jake, Jamal Singleton, I think someone mentioned in the chat.
Yeah, Brooks mentioned it. Yeah.
Is he still with the Eagles?
Not sure where he's at. Yeah, he's coaching Barkley.
Oh, yeah, he's coaching. Yeah, he's coaching St. I mean,
yeah, if you could. How much is DeMarco making? I think I'm pretty close.
What'd you say, Jay?
I said close to $1 million.
And what was DeMarco's title? Just running back coach, or was he like running back, running game coordinator?
It was whatever to do to bump him up a little bit. Yeah, so is Joe John Finley. And, we'll see what happens offensively.
Hey, open the phone lines. Let's start this.
Open the phone lines up. Let's get him going. Get him going. Some of these comments. $800,000 a year. That's close to $1 million. That's crazy.
That's very crazy, Jay. Now, one thing you have to admit, though, Jay, you got to admit this. I heard you say that's crazy that the college is getting, more than the pros, but you got to think about it. It's much more of an exhaustive job because of all the recruiting.
I agree.
Pros, you're coaching a few months, then you got some camps, but you're not spending all the time on the recruiting trail, man. And so I actually get why college is. I mean, unless you just love that, it's going to be hard to leave a pro job to go to college. That's why a guy like Stan Drayton, who was a head coach in college, would probably make that jump or that move down, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and DeMarco Murray, the biggest downfall I think from him is personnel decisions and who they play. It just doesn't seem to something just doesn't fit. I don't know what it is.
Murray, 800,000.
Yeah, I don't know why Michael said 575.
And Rhino says, look, OU's going to surprise some people next year. Yeah, I mean, if they win 8 games, they're definitely going to surprise some people. So, but I agree with what Sooner Cowboy said too. Until something positive happens, what was the last positive thing for OU? They beat Bama, and they followed it up, and it's been bad since. There's got to be stacking some positives together before people are going to get on that bandwagon. Right now, guys, the bandwagon's sitting still. I mean, if you want to jump on the bandwagon, it's parked. It's not even. In fact, I don't even know if you can recognize it as a bandwagon. I think it's got 2 wheels falling off. The covers coming off. So people don't even know if they should get on it, if it's going to move or not.
Hey,
if the thing starts moving and you gain some traction after week 2 against Michigan, then people might start jumping on board that thing.
Hey, I texted this earlier. I don't know. I know you were busy tonight. I don't know if you had a chance to see it, but the Indiana basketball player. Did you see it?
I saw your tweet earlier today.
No, I didn't tweet. I sent you the text. Did you listen to it?
Yeah, the text.
Basically, the Indiana basketball players ripped the Indiana basketball fans and said, all you people that are bashing us, I do not want to see any of you celebrating us when we start winning games, because we'll get it together and we'll start winning. First off, I can't stand that narrative. Like, so you're saying when you're playing bad as a player, that if fans get on you, they can't be negative. You got to be positive all the time. And then they said, don't come celebrate. That's like saying if OU does good next year, OU fans can't be happy. That's dumb. That's a stupid comment.
Yeah, Texas at Ohio State and OU Michigan week 2. What a great one. Hey, let's use that analogy that Rhino put in here though. The band. If we're gonna jump right now, how many of you guys are still in the wagon? How many of you are so far out you don't even know where the wagon's at, and who's just sitting there by the wagon waiting to get on? Because I mean, I'm one of those. I'm sitting there. I'm interested to see kind of these adjustments. Like, is Arbuckle, or are they adding a tire to that wagon that's going to be, a nice level tire? Is this thing going to get a makeover? And is this thing going to roll in the right direction? So for me, Mr. B's in the wagon. I'm outside watching the work. I'm seeing the guys putting in. I'm seeing the adjustments that are being made, the tinkering that they're doing, and I'll make a decision if I'm going to hop on that thing. But I'm always near the wagon because I'm an OU fan.
Samurai Sooners in the wagon, and Sooner fan had a great comment here. The bottom line is
Herbert's riding shotgun in that thing, so no one else can claim it. Herbert's there.
The bottom line is you can call out bad play and bad coaching, but still be supportive, good fan. That's right. You can call it like you see it. And here's the thing. And you know what? I'm not going to do this because I'm not going to call any specific people out, because I was one of them. There was a lot of people in this chat. There were some of them. You know what I did today is I went back and watched a video from about 1 year ago that we did. It was a live show. And me, you, I mean, I'm not going to say names, but some of the biggest doomers on here were really excited about last year. And then I'm sitting there watching, it's like, man, this went south very fast because of the bad year. And here's why. There was so much pump hype to go to the SEC. That's like for OU fandom for the last 3 years. That's all any of us could talk about. Get to the SEC. Cannot wait to be to the SEC. And then it went so bad in year 1. That's why it's gotten so it's like everybody was just itching at the bit to get in the SEC. And now 6 and 7. And I encourage people to do this too. I don't know if you watch them or not. I also sent this text saying, if you don't watch SEC Mike, go watch them. I think they're really good. I think they're pretty unbiased on everything. But they did a show and talked about Brent Venables next year, how many games they win, blah, 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 blah. It was a great kind of clip they put on Twitter. You can get it on Twitter. Hunter might be able to drop it in here. But
hey,
the thing that was brought up was this. I think Shane said, well, I think if he can get to 8 wins, they might keep him next year. And SEC Mike was like, can you believe that? 8 wins at Oklahoma and you're satisfied. Like
it's all perspective. Hey,
it is, but it's a good clip to watch. It's a good clip.
And Hunter's posted the link. I like what Daniel said, though. Ride or die, Daniel's in a casket smiling. And I like Lane's analogy of the parent that, still going to love the kid, even though he's disappointed. And I think that's a great mindset to have. And maybe the wagon analogy is not the best. I mean, I want to see the adjustments they made, but at the same time, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving my first love as a Sooner fan. Like, I'm not jumping to another team. You got to, hey, what makes it so special as fans, Jay, you and I know because we're Kansas City Royal fans. Until 2015, we went so many years where the baseball season was over for the Royals pretty much by May and June. But boy, when they had the 2014 and 2015 year, it was so fun, and it'll get me through another 30 years as a Royal fan. That's the way fandom is. That is fandom at its best.
Yeah, and I get it as an OU fan. It's not fun when you see OU picked 14th in the conference next year. It's not fun at all. It was not fun. Wait. It was also not fun to see this man in the last year, JD Pickle, pick OU at 7-5. Remember all the OU fans bashing him? Well, he was pretty close. So I just think from a national perspective, you're not going to get raw. It's not going to happen.
No, and
it's just not.
I'm sorry. Anyone that's raw all the time, first off, it's fake.
No, it's not. That's baloney, dude. That's baloney.
Okay.
It is.
Whatever.
You know what? I get tired of. You tell people, do not tell me how I feel. Do not, Germ. You don't know how people feel if they're that might be their positive attitude, Germ. So stop.
No, I'll say it again. I'm not scared to
how
say
they feel.
If you're gonna raw and celebrate everything that happens, it's fake, Jay. Listen, if you're going to raw and celebrate what happened this year on the field, it's fake. You're actually blind to what happened. I like what Sooner fan says. Sooner fan is an OU fan, an OU supporter until the day they die. But doesn't mean they're going to not voice disappointment. And in my opinion, anyone that does that is just blind to the fact, the truth of what's actually happening. Now, on the other side, there's the extreme too, but that's why I think right here in the middle, and Jay, this is why Sooner Surge will always be this from now to whenever Sooner Surge doesn't exist. And I hope that's not for a very long time. I hope the Sooner Surge exists for years and years to come. But I can promise you this: never, ever will we get on here and raw celebrate when there's mediocrity, when there's lowered expectations as far as well, you know what? It was a moral victory. Jay, did you ever say moral victory this year when OU lost?
There are no moral victories at Oklahoma.
Exactly. So if you're Siscoon ball, celebrating everything in the heyday, no, that's fake.
You know what, though? I mean, you might say moral victories for OU basketball this year, but I'll never say it for football. Hey, Rhino says, I'm not going to spill the beans, but we have Ben Arbuckle. You put an elite DC next week, so BV can be the CEO. Where do y'all think it would be?
Rhino is right with me on the Jim Knowles.
Rhino, here's the thing. I've said it probably for a few weeks now. I do think the offense is going to be a lot better. I mean, how could it not be? And I think the defense will be good. I've told y'all this. Until I see wins, I can't come on here and tell you they're going to get 9 wins. I've done it for 3. I did it last year, and I'm not doing it again this year until I see game performances. Period.
But if that's the case, and I'm not going to say this about Arbuckle yet, but Seth Luttrell and Joe John Finley weren't it. Everyone knows that. Arbuckle's got a great chance to improve the offense, and I'm going to say this. I've said it before. If Pierce Brosnan was the DC, I mean, to me, you bring a guy like Jim Knowles in, it is the cream of the crop on the defensive side. And I got to go up Mark for a second because I saw my name.
Okay,
I got to read what it says. Bad take. Some fans aren't as critical and are just positive people. Hey, Mark, there's nothing wrong with being positive. So let me give
That
you
was
an
my
example.
point too. I'm agreeing with Mark. That was my point.
And I agree with Clark. It's not sunshine pumping to say next year's offense would be much better. Okay, it isn't. I think that's great. My Mark, you're correct in this. Like for example, I'm positive about Ben Arbuckle. I'm really I haven't even seen him at OU. I'm positive about that. I'm positive about all the guys they've got staying there. I'm positive about all those things. But I also, in the same sense, can't say, well, you know, they're going to be in the playoff, or if they lose games, to say, you know what, though, they're going to be in the playoffs. So I think we kind of agree.
Hey, Hall of Fame. Listen, hey, voicing disappointment is one thing. Acting like OU's dead and buried when they lost a bunch of one-score games with no offense. No, listen, it's called, they've 3 years now under Brent Venables. It's time for them to win games. That's all I'm saying. They got to win games, Hall of Fame.
Hey,
they got to win
no
games.
No offense, Hall of Fame. Look, a doom and gloom whiner. I've been called that a lot. I think specifically by you, but I'm not a whiner.
No, and you
I'm
know
not
why?
whining about. I'm not. Yeah, look.
I mean,
we've said this before. When they won this year, I've been very positive, Jay. Actually,
yeah,
Jay,
I mean,
even when Joe John Finley started calling plays, I talked about how the offense at least looked like they had some identity. Never am I going to personally bash a player, though, nor am I personally going to bash the coaches. Now, I will, when it's not pretty, I think we should, as fans, have a right to say this isn't good. And what's happened at OU in 3 years hasn't been good outside the second year, when actually, though, they should have been in a playoff, Jay. They lost to 2 teams that they were way better than. If OU would have went to the Big 12 championship game that year, there would have been a little less, I think, talk.
Well, and Brent Venables has majorly improved the defense. The offense next year should be better. My point is this: you got a good defense. Everybody's high on Arbuckle. If they don't win next year, where are you going to say the problem's at next year? Because now that would be year 4. If they don't win next year with a good defense and everybody's pumping up Arbuckle, me included, if they don't win, then what? Schedule? Injuries?
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, you got to at least call out things that something – and I get the one-score games, but listen, I'm not wrong on this. You can call in and argue with me. I don't care. Anybody can call in and argue on this chat, and we will defend it. If people bash that, we defend it all the time. We don't just let people rant and say, "Oh, you sucks." Okay, but listen, if somebody wants to call and argue this, last year's game, they had all the injuries, right, against Missouri. All the injuries. They aren't playing well. They got Joe John Finley. Coaching decision: take that game to overtime. You might win. What did they do? They tried to go 75 yards with that offense to try to win. As a tie game, they lost. That is a decision that maybe they should have held that ball and went to overtime. That's all I'm saying. I'm not sitting here bashing just everything they do at Oklahoma. I'm not.
No, so, yeah. I think it's been realist for the most part, Jay. There was someone who said Pierce Brosnan ? The Pierce Brosnan ? Was I had compared Pierce Brosnan to Daniel Craig in The Bond, or Pierce Brosnan to Sean Connery, and I think it's similar with OU's who they could bring on with Jim Knowles. Jim Knowles would be a top Sean Connery type of guy, but yeah. Hey Jay, I'm sure everyone has been critical. I don't watch a lot of things, but I'm not going to sit here and say I haven't been critical. Like, come on.
Jeremy, here's the difference. Here's the difference.
I've never personally bashed anyone, though.
No, but here's the difference. It's different when, like, this, it's a fan channel, okay? We show comments. If they're negative. I know some channels never show a comment if it's negative. So, and that's fine if that's right. But if people want to call in here and be negative, that's fine. I won't always agree with it. Just because somebody calls in on our show and says, fire Joe C., that doesn't mean I agree with it. But you know what? We're going to let them say their piece. That's all. I mean, it doesn't mean I agree with it, okay? I don't agree with everything that everybody calls in and says. I don't agree with all the negativity. Jeremy, we've argued with people all the time on here going different opinions. It's not always negative on OU. So I don't want to spend much time talking about this. So
yeah, I don't either. Let's move on. Let's. I mean, what would you say the chances are, Jay, DeMarco's going to Dallas? Less than 30?
I don't even want to talk about that.
What about Dion, Jay?
I would like Dion to go to Dallas. I would love that.
What is Hunter saying? There's no chance a head coach is demoted. Is he talking about people who are saying BV is going to be a DC? Never. He's never going to be the DC at OU.
No. And you are, everybody in here is ridiculous. And we've had this argument before. If you are an OU fan, you want Brent Venables to succeed. They need to succeed.
Absolutely. You want next year to be the year.
You do not want to have to turn this over again. I want Brent Venables to succeed big time. So, hey, we got Daniel on the line. What's up, Daniel?
What's up, fellas? I just have a few things to say, about first off, I want, like y'all just said, I want Coach V to succeed. I think he will succeed. But a question I kind of want to ask even the people in the chat and say what you think about it. It's a two-part question. And you guys can even answer this too. Would y'all say before the 2020 season, would y'all say Jim Harbaugh at Michigan had a successful tenure?
No, and hey, we've had this discussion before. I'm with you on this. Here's the only difference I see, though, because I agree. He got it together and look what happened. And I still think that could happen with Brent Venables. But he didn't have 2 losing seasons.
True. And that's what I was going to get to. The trajectory is different. But my thing is with Coach V, if he does start winning, will we look back on the 2 losing? How will they be ignored? That's just, excuse me. That's just kind of some of the questions that I had with all the negativity and people like that. And people are fine to be negative. Like I've said, we've had 2 losing seasons. But you look at some other coaches, like Nick Saban's first year. People want to say we lost to these team, and what was he, 6-7 or 7-6?
Yeah.
Really, how much different is that? If Coach V after this season continues to have winning seasons, goes to playoff, maybe wins one, what really is a 2 6-7 seasons? How much of a difference is that than 1 7-6 season of Nick Saban? And I'm not saying that BB is going to be close to the GOAT, but I'm just using to put that in perspective for people.
Here's what I would say, and here's what I would say. This is, I think if they get it together next year, I think what you could say is maybe he finally figured out the right hire. I mean, the one part of the main problem with Brent Venables is you're going on your 4th offensive coordinator in 3 years there.
Yep.
I mean, there's been no consistency. Defensive coordinators, Ted Root, Zach Alley, and I know it's Brent Venables' defense, whatever, but I feel like it's almost like reactionary on things instead of just getting a plan in place and going for it. So I think if they do good next year, then the hope would be, you got Arbuckle, you got a good defensive staff, keep it together for a few years and build on it. And I think it could happen, but it's got to happen like next year. If it doesn't, there's no excuses.
But I do think that if OU starts winning, you can't remove the 6 and 7 years, but everyone would say, including me probably, that this is his first coaching job. Sarkisian struggled early in his career, head coach. There's been guys who have struggled. You mentioned Harbaugh. Maybe they didn't struggle this badly, but I think the consensus, the narrative, the talk would probably be BV figured some things out. I mean, if he were to bring Jim Knowles in this year, there's a lot you could say that he figured out, that he didn't hire. I mean, Arbuckle and Knowles both would be guys that he had no connection to. So he went outside his comfort zone. Like, you would be able to look back and probably put some things on your fingers like, okay, there's something he did. He learned, he evolved as a coach. That's what I think every Sooner fan wants to see it can happen. It can happen.
And I feel like some of the fans try to move the goalposts, even like with the comment there. And it's not a negative, but I know OU fans. I know them very well, just as much as y'all do. If the season before was 10-3 and we had an 8-5 season, 10-3, 8-5, or we had 7-6, 10-3, 7-6, OU fans would still complain. I'm sorry, they still would. We should be winning 11 games. This is OU. We should be winning. So you got to pick and choose really what you want. Do you want to, like, what is it? I know everybody's perspectives and everything is different, but I feel like there needs to be consensus on what actually do fans want. Because if we had, like I said, if those 2 seasons were 8 wins, there still would be a good portion of the fan base that would not be satisfied. Period.
Yeah,
always will be.
Hey, thanks,
So,
Daniel.
you know,
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it, Daniel.
Hey, and Jeremy, before we get to Greg, I got to say one thing I want to say about when Daniel brought up Harbaugh. The only other difference I would say is this, and this is just as a fan and if nationally people that see Brent Venables, even OU fans that see Brent Venables, this is, I think, the difference. People saw Harbaugh coach in the NFL and said that dude can coach. Nobody has seen Brent Venables as a head coach. So the obvious thing is like, can he coach? We're not sure yet.
Yeah, there's that question, Jay.
There's that question because he hasn't done it before. That's the main difference, I think. But that doesn't mean he can't do it.
And I want to get to a couple of these comments, but we got Greg on, and I want to address a couple of these comments. Let's get to Greg.
Hey, fellas. So if Brent Venables turns the team around and we have lasting success, we will forgive and be happy that he's successful. I think we all want him to succeed, for real. But right now, I mean, there's just so much to not be happy about. We have not won a bowl game under Brent Venables. We're struggling at times to beat Group of 5 teams. We lost one in Navy. We were ahead by a touchdown against Missouri and let them come back and score 2 touchdowns in like a minute and a half. Yet we're nowhere near close to the Oklahoma winning standard. To not be satisfied with that does not make us bash OU or hate OU. We expect to win, and to be satisfied with what is happening with our team right now is not wrong. Like we are underperforming, and that's the reality of what it is. We're losing to teams we shouldn't. We're getting embarrassed by our arch rival almost year after year in Texas, where we're losing recruits to teams like Missouri and whatnot. The team is not where it should be. And to say that we're being too negative, I think is silly. We're Oklahoma. We should be competing for championships.
Exactly. Coconut Greg, you just said about 10 reasons why. And to me, it goes back to that comment. I don't remember. I think it was Hall of Fame that said it. Hall of Fame college football that said, it's your show. You can allow it, but everyone should be backing it up with reality. I think Coconut Greg just backed it up with reality. That was pretty that was pretty real with what was just said, in my opinion. And Jay, if you say that, and what I would say to Coconut Greg's comments there too is, if we're going to say, well, no, that's not true, then we are basically lowering expectations. I mean, all those things, Group of 5 teams, just getting destroyed in games that you shouldn't be getting destroyed in, losing games that you shouldn't be losing, not winning a bowl game under his regime. All those things are facts. And if we say, well, no, and we start making excuses, then what?
Yeah. Here's the fact as well, is we are tough on our team because we love it. We want the team to succeed. We have high standards for our team because it's in our blood. We're all crimson and cream through and through. When it comes to the time where we're just like, oh, whatever, they lost again, boomer sooner, that's when the team has hit rock bottom. But right now we still have a expectation to perform. Like, come on.
Yeah.
We're here to win. We compete to win. We don't compete to just be there. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it. And hey, I don't think the injury things was an excuse. I mean, I think the injuries played a big part last year. I'm not going to deny that.
That's a real thing too. I'm not.
But I'm not talking about injuries. I'm talking about the Missouri game. They had a chance to go there and do it. I'm talking about not having
personnel.
I'm talking about not having a quarterback coach. I'm talking about the hire of Seth Luttrell. I mean, who does that fall on, the hire of Seth Luttrell? That's all I'm saying. Like, I hope Brent Venable kills it next year. I hope he does.
And Hall of Fame. No one's denying some of those things that was said. And by the way, losing 5 out of 7 losing 5 to 7 really close games also falls on the head coach too, I think. We got Sooner-Thron on the line.
What's up, Sooner-Thron?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, how y'all doing?
Good.
Hey, you know, you were talking about back when we learned about the SEC, we were so fired up, and I agree. And that's all we talked about. But if you go back to when they announced it, the schedule, well, we didn't really know the schedule yet, but we were just we were a level above Texas. We were dominant. We were rolling the conference. And also, if you think back, Tennessee was not very good back then. South Carolina was not very good. Ole Miss was not very good. And all of a sudden, the schedule comes out, and I said it last summer. I said, look at our schedule in Texas's. It's a joke. They're setting it up for Texas, and it's going to hurt us even more. Now, if we'd have beat Texas, I'd have a little more say. But the fact of the matter is, the schedule 2 years ago was not this hard. But now, those teams that are so much better than they were a few years ago has made it to where the schedule is just astronomically harder than what Texas did. And you saw Texas, because the difference in the Big 12, and people have been saying this for years, OU won the Big 12 just because it was a better talent every game. And that was true, except against Texas. And I don't know why Texas sucked in the Big 12. I'll never understand that. But when we went to the SEC, that's not the case. Every team, almost 7 or 8 of those teams, they have the talent we have. And so it's going to be really close, and we just don't win on talent. And if you look at Texas, the teams that they played, their talent was pretty close. Like, of course, Georgia, Ohio State, they lost. The reason it looks so much better is Texas is getting the benefit of basically playing teams that are barely better than any of the Big 12. They're out-talenting those other teams, but it's a big deal because it makes Texas look like they've actually accepted the SEC. We haven't. That hurts us in recruiting. That hurts us. I get it, but
Sooner-thron, who had more talent in 2023, Kansas or OU?
I would say, yeah, OU. I agree with that.
OSU or OU?
Well, OU, yeah. But those were also people. But that Texas team that we beat last year, that was the best Texas team since 2009.
Agreed.
That was the best Kansas team since 2007.
I agree.
And I do agree. I agree. We should have not lost both of those games. But I just think people on the OU that we've always said they're only good because they were in the Big 12 because of talent. And then the fact of the matter is Texas is looking better because they've got the players, but they're not beating the good teams either. But it's like just kind of
they have beaten a lot of good teams though. But they've beaten a lot of more teams than OU has.
But when they've not played, when they lost to Georgia twice and Ohio State, those are the three, and they lost to OU and Washington last year. So, and that's 5 teams that are similar in talent, and they lost all of those games.
Yeah, but you also got look at Notre Dame. Notre Dame's not most talented. They have no 5 stars on their team, and they're in the championship.
But I'm talking about Texas compared to us.
You're just talking about Texas purely.
Yes, because Texas has got a schedule, and and it helps them to look. Oh, yeah, we won 11 games. Yeah, that's pretty easy.
I get the schedule. I get what you're saying about the schedule. It's an easier schedule, and it makes a difference. I get that. OU's had the first 2 years are a brutal schedule.
This is ridiculous.
But you know what? Those Sooner-thron. But here's what can't happen. When you have a brutal schedule, you can't barely get it. You have to get a safety to beat Houston. You have to barely escape Missouri. All that stuff. I mean, you got to blow those teams out or something. I mean.
Oh, I agree with that. I'm just saying the perception shows of. My point is the perception is I think Texas had our schedule. I don't think they'd have made the playoffs. They'd have gone like 9-3.
And that's possible. I mean,
because it is so much easier. They're just out talenting like they did in the Big 12. They're just out talenting all those other teams. When they ran into teams that had the same talent, they've lost almost every time in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, but they made the playoff 2 years in a row. So I mean, they were in the same Big 12 OU was in last year, and they made the playoff.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And Jay, they took Ohio State to the last 2 minutes when everyone said Ohio State was going to drill them.
Yeah,
they matched up with Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with that. They were close, but they did what they always do. I mean, he always would screw up at the end. I mean, he did that in all the big games.
He did screw up at the end.
Hey, appreciate it, Ron. Appreciate it.
On that note, we got KB Longhorn on here.
Yeah, and then we'll get to some of these comments. Let's go. What's up, KB?
What's going on, fellas?
What's going on?
Hey, I seen Steve Stutsman's comment on there, and he's about, I think, dead on. I think I put it in the Discord.
The money?
Huh?
About the money?
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Because Texas, I was putting in the Discord, Texas, this year we lost 10 people to the portal. Not talking about to the NFL. I'm not going to include that for any team because those guys want to go to the NFL. They deserve that. But we lost 10 in the portal, no starters.
Yeah,
and we satisfied who we still had there, and still had a #1 recruiting class. And I guarantee it all boils down to who has the money.
Yeah, here's the deal. The reality is this. Money is the way college football is these days. You have to pay a lot of money to keep players on your roster. And then when you spend money in the portal, it's not about how many guys you get in the portal. It's like, who are you going to spend the money on to get the key guys that are going to make a difference with your roster? Go look at Texas. Matt Golden was a big addition last year.
Yeah, you're not going to get Texas is not going to get anybody out of the portal that is not going to contribute. It's just not worth the money.
Well, and that the money is so high in the portal, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's high all around. I mean,
exactly.
But money
you
is a
have to
big
look
deal.
at
It's a big
this, though,
factor.
Jay and KB, you got to look at this, though. Who won the Natty last year? Michigan. Who might win the Natty this year? Notre Dame. Both of those teams were not up at the top as far as money spending, I don't think.
No, but I think to consistently stay up there, you need.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing. And plus, the money thing makes all these teams better. That's why there's more parity in a lot of, even in the SEC. It's a deeper conference because a lot of these other schools that, like the caller before said, that used to not be relevant are now, and they're upsetting some of the bigger teams.
And that's why you see the SEC, slip a little this year compared to the Big Ten. I think that money's evening it all out. If you got it, you got it. If you don't, you don't. And I think it's starting to show a little bit.
Yeah. Hey, appreciate it, KB.
Y'all have a good night.
Thank you. You too, man. Steve says Danny will bring it no matter the team. And that's the thing about Danny. Since he stepped on campus at OU, he brought it no matter what. If he had a shoulder hurt, it didn't matter. He'll do the same thing in the NFL. He's going to be great.
Just real quick, I've got to address because I saw Steve Stutsman.
Phone lines are open.
Well, yeah, phone lines are open if you want to call in. Call in and talk to us. But not for this crowd. I know what you're doing here. You're trying to say this crowd as the Surge crowd. Listen, we go live every night, every single night. I'm never going to try to tell fans how they can think about something. And I'm not. Look, we're all fans here. That's what this channel is. We're a fan channel. I'm not an insider. I'm not any ties of anyone. I'm not. All I'm saying is it's a fan channel, so we're going to let fans, as long as it's not crude and vulgar, at least voice an opinion. That's what this channel is. So I don't like the narrative of, oh, well, so not on this channel because this channel is only negative. It's just not. It's just not. We've been positive a lot. Yeah, I mean, and I don't have to say, look, there are times when OU just gets beat, Jay. I've said it. OU just got beat. But it's frustrating when they beat themselves, or, I mean, this year was a plethora of things with the injuries and a lot of things. But then there's other things just sitting there just shaking your head on. And if you can't shake your head on those, then I really don't know why we're even here doing this, Jay. I mean, if you can't at least critique some things. So anyway.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things I agree with. There's a lot of things I don't disagree with when people put stuff in the chat. But as part of the show, it's to let people talk. And I mean, I don't sit here and want to talk about this a whole bunch.
Yeah, I don't either.
Longer. I mean, let's just move on. But bashing the channel, yeah, whatever. I don't want to get to all these comments in here, but
yeah, we don't.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Okay. I think anybody in this chat, Sooner fans, wait, what do you? I'm getting frustrated, but I'm losing my train of thought here, Jerm.
Yeah,
and maybe he's talking to somebody in the chat, but the fact of the matter is this, okay? Brent Venables is going into year 4. Okay, and I know a lot of people on here, if you go watch other channels, they want to bash Porter Moser. Porter Moser's in year 4. They haven't made the NCAA tournament. Okay, like right now, listen, the 2 highest revenue sports at Oklahoma, one hasn't made the NCAA tournament, one hasn't won a bowl game in 3 years. You can't be happy about that. I'm not happy about that. I want it to get better. I want Brent Venables to be the guy. I do. I love Brent Venables. I want him to be the guy that succeeds. But
absolutely, Jay.
They have to win 8 or 9 games next year, in my opinion. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. That's the deal.
I said playoff or bust next year as far as for him, but I do think probably 8 they'll keep him. But look, can it happen? They're going to have to win some games that people probably don't expect, which it's going to hinge on Arbuckle in the offense, I think, because the defense is going to be very, very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Very, very, very good.
Yeah, I think the offense will be a lot better next year. I would be surprised if it wasn't.
Yeah.
And
Man,
Daniel,
Thunder lose tonight.
Hey, Daniel, thanks for that. Appreciate it. It doesn't really bother me that people throw shade. I mean, it does sometimes when it's not warranted. And I just don't like being spread across other places that we're not, Sooners.
Looks like we have Danny Stutsman on.
I think it's Steve. What's up, Steve?
But it says Danny. I was just
What's up, Steve? How are you, man?
What's up, guys?
How you been, bro?
You know what? I'm living a life, man. Low stress.
Yeah, it's different, isn't it?
Way different, man. Jesus Christ! I'm so glad we're out of this. We're so out of the game, bro.
Yeah.
You have no dog in the fight anymore anywhere, except when
No,
you get to the NFL. But that's a different story.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's up? What's on your mind, man?
No, just checking in, man. You know, everybody's got to realize that NIL and transfer portal and all that stuff, nobody gives a crap about blue bloods and national championships and what have you done for lately? If Tulane has got a guy and Oklahoma's got a guy and Tulane offers the guy $100,000 more, guess where he's going?
Yeah.
He's going to Tulane, dude.
Yeah.
Doesn't care if you have 7 Heisman trophies, man. That's the state of where we're at. And I'm so glad we're out of that stuff. It's crazy, dude. And you guys gotta be pulling your hair out every night going over this stuff because the fan base doesn't grasp it that's what it's come down to is it's all about the money.
Yeah, that's what it's turning into in college football.
100%.
But okay, let me ask you this, Steve. So with that, where does that fall structurally wise? Does that fall on AD, the head coach? Where do you think that's going down the line here? Because you're going to have a head coach that's going to want to go to fight and say, we need more money, or we don't have enough money, or the AD. Where's this going to go?
So I think it falls upon the ADs getting together with the NCAA and putting a stop to this crap, man. Because you got to have caps. You got to have.
It's going to have to.
You got to have transport. When can you transfer out? When can you transfer in? You just saw that the NCAA gave the junior colleges guys that extra year, right? So what does that do? That means the high school guy's screwed. So the high school guy has to now look at JUCOs, right? So it goes down the line. So the AD's got to get with NCAA. They got to get together now because, dude, it is out of control. It's like you said the wildfires in California. It's the wildfires in NCAA right now, dude.
Yeah, and guys like Danny that stuck around.
That's not going to happen no more. It's done.
Don't you think there's so much more money if you leave than if you stay?
Absolutely. Danny told me how many offers he got from other schools that were 10 times more than what he would stay, but that's not how I raised my son.
Yeah.
But that's the reality now.
That's the reality.
Because this poaching thing is for real. There's a way to get back doors into I got guys entering my DMs last year trying to get to Danny. We don't do that. That's not my fiber or Danny's fiber, but that's not speaking for the rest of the nation that it's a different situation, right? We're not looking for the next dollar. We're not looking for the most dollars, but that's how it is right now. Some families need that extra $100,000. That's big time money, guys.
And you know what? If you have the guys that they aren't going to make it in the NFL, they're going to take as much as they can.
This is their NFL. This is their 5 years in the NFL right here in college.
Let me give you a little the guy for Georgia. Who's the guy for Georgia?
Beck.
just got $7.5 million. He wouldn't even make a roster. He might not even make a roster in the NFL.
Correct.
Dude,
Hey, and
I'm telling you right now, dude, he wouldn't make a roster in the NFL. He's getting $7.5 million to play for Miami, bro.
And Steve, that's why I like it that a team like Michigan last year, or maybe even a team like Notre Dame, even Ohio State, though, look at their roster. It's not just all. I mean, Riley Leonard's
Ohio State paid a lot.
Ohio State did to keep some guys, but what I'm saying is J.J. McCarthy State. There's some old dudes on these teams.
Okay, J.J. McCarthy, what did he get from Portnoy? $10 million.
Yeah. No, Portnoy. Yeah, Bryce Underwood's getting
that's the guy going to Michigan.
That's the Michigan guy, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Michigan's
$10 million. $10 million. The guy probably couldn't break the state records in Texas high school football at 3A level.
And
he's
that's
getting $10 million, bro. Come on.
And that's the problem. They won the Natty with J.J. McCarthy, a guy who just grew up played in Michigan, and then they go throw money at someone who may be gone in a year. That's how it's changed.
Dude. So I will say this. Now I have seen this. I've had guys send me contracts, and this is a little bit. I won't name the institutions, but I am seeing that the institutions are starting to say in the verbiage that if you leave within a year, you have to pay back all the NIL and any fees that the collectors have paid to you. That's the start. Now I've seen that in some biggest. I won't say who they are. I've seen the contracts because guys asked me to look at them, and so that's the start. That they're starting to get a little smarter. That to keep the guys in line, just not to leave. After hey, I don't like this. I'm getting paid $1.5 million. I'm gonna go pay $4 million. They got to pay it back before they leave, or the cause they leave for has to pay it back. That's happening. That's happening right now.
Yeah, it is. And Teresa says, congrats to Mr. and Ms. Stutsman for raising an honorable son.
Well, you know what? I appreciate it. Raising a kid, the kid has to listen, right? That's true. You guys, right? The hard part is the kid has to listen. So for him to actually listen to us, I give him I'll give him like a little kudos to that. But no, he's a good kid. But yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that. But everybody has kids. Know what it is to raise a kid, and it's give and take, and the kid has to give and take a lot, right?
Oh yeah.
Yep, that's right.
Hey, I know all the Surgeaholics are gonna be following Danny in this draft. Can't wait to see where he goes, Steve. Exciting times ahead for you guys as well, man.
Guys, dude, I again, I'm gonna go on record and say this. You guys are the only guys that I know are so true to what you do every friggin' night. 365, 20. You guys are awesome, man.
Hey, appreciate it.
The following that you have now, like I've always told you guys, I'm a closet follower, right? I may not always call in. Every now and then I'll get a little crown in me. I'll dial up, right? But dude, love you guys. Love the following, dude. Even if it's Gray God, Ron, dude, I love all those guys. Everybody has opinion and they're entitled to it, but the state of football is changing.
It is.
And what's going on? It's not a Brent Venables problem. It's a NCAA problem, right? So we love Brent Venables, man. I'm gonna go on record right now and tell you right now, that's the guy. So for him to get the right guy with the OC, DC, and all that is crucial.
It is crucial.
He's got the players, and the players coming in are going to be awesome. So I asked Sooner Nation to hang in there because the injuries that we had is not what happens in football. I've never seen that in my life.
Yeah,
What has happened to us last year, I've never seen that. You go back, I say 20 years and see if any team has had that kind of decimation of players due to injuries. Challenge me on that one. I'll take you up on that.
Yeah, and you shoot when you were coming here on Sunday nights, and early on in the year with the Seth Luttrell thing just really set him back. That was the problem.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. That was not a good hire.
And so Arbuckle
yeah.
looks like to be a lot. He's going to be.
Yes.
I think they're going to be a lot better under him. So we'll see
So
what
I'm going to
happens.
go with this. So what you're going to see is Arbuckle with Mateer is kind of like with Levy and Gabriel, right?
Yeah.
So you know what you're going to get. You're going to get stability. You're going to get production, and that worry is off your sheet, right? So what's the other holes you got to fill? Because that's done. Because that's what you got with Levy and Gabriel, and that's proven. That's been proven. So. Yeah, I'm with you, man. That was a setback, but now we got to get the DC. Who's in line for the DC with you guys? I mean, you guys
Hey,
run the line.
I've said it for a while that I do think there's more to it as far as the Knowles. I think Knowles is probably a 50-50 chance, and I would be all for
dude,
Jim Knowles. I would
I'm
be
gonna
all
tell you,
for it.
guys. I'm gonna tell you right now, and I'll tell Serge and you guys right now. So I took Danny on a trip to Oklahoma State off the on our own dime, and I sat down with Jim Knowles. That guy is a defensive mastermind.
Mhm.
And I saw that, and we were so impressed with what he had to. But that's not when you're getting recruited. That's one part of it, right? The other is the
Yeah.
head coach. So you know what I'm saying. But Jim Knowles was, oh my God, a phenomenal. And look what he's look. Of course, look what he's in Oklahoma State, Ohio State, and if they could get Jim Knowles. Oh my God, dude!
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Wow,
I agree. It's like
that would be a wow.
exactly.
Yeah, and it would free BV up to do
Oh,
everything
dude!
else.
Finally, I think BV could be comfortable with just being a head coach and not trying to dabble because
Do you think he
everybody
dabbled
knows.
with Ali?
Dude, yeah, absolutely. That's why Ali left. I'm telling you right now, that's why he left. We all know. I think we all knew. If you
Yeah.
didn't know that, I'm telling you
Yeah.
right now, that's why he left. That
Yeah.
100%.
But Steve, don't you think that's because anytime you bring a guy in that you're mentoring, you feel like you have to be there doing that? It's not like it's a negative thing. It's just that's the natural thing to do. If you're mentoring a guy, you're going to be there, putting your hands in everything.
But I agree. But when you're mentoring, there's a part, there's a time when you step off the gas and you let him
Agreed.
drive the car,
Yeah.
right?
Agreed.
So that didn't happen. That he never relinquished full control. And when you're dealing with a young guy that's up and coming that has aspirations of being where you're at, that's what's going to happen. And unfortunately, that's BV had to learn the hard way that, oh my God, I kind of messed up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, what do you think about Canick moving to tight end possibly?
Dude, have you guys ever watched that guy on offense?
I watched his high school tape.
Unbelievable
Yeah.
high school film.
So I'll be candid with you guys. So I'm very close to that family. I'm very close with his stepdad. Very close with Jaren. That guy is a monster on offense. If you could, if there was any inkling that he could play offense on Oklahoma, so everybody's like, oh, Hunter, whatever. Dude, Jaren would blow Hunter away if he played. If that guy played running back and a linebacker, he would be a freaking Heisman Trophy guy. I'm telling you right now, that guy is awesome, dude. And for them to even think about putting him on offense, they should do it because what an athlete. That guy is a true athlete.
Yeah. He took over the Twitter stuff for Danny too, didn't he?
You don't think Danny had a little bit to do with that?
Yeah.
Is Danny
just-
mentoring him?
hey,
Danny
hey,
mentored
Dan,
him.
hey, shh, don't tell nobody, but Danny had a little bit of that with.
You're great, Steve. Hey.
Hey, thanks so much, Steve, man. And seriously,
Guys, love you what you do, and I appreciate it, dude. Just because I'm not vocal doesn't mean I'm not listening.
We
You know what I'm
got you.
saying?
Oh yeah, we know.
I'm always on it. I watch you. I get an alert every night when you come on. I always chime in. I just watch. Hey, but sometimes I might get one or two little crowns in me, and I feel like they come on me. So yeah.
All right.
We appreciate it.
Boys,
You're welcome
I will always
anytime.
keep, hey,
man.
I will, hey, Surgeaholics, I'll keep you updated with Danny. Hey, he's working dude, he is working he's doing 2-a-days, 6 days a week, 1 day off. Dude, he is working so hard, man.
Is,
So
is he going to do pro day and combine?
he's going to do combine, and then pro day falls after that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you'll be able to watch him on NFL Network, and
Right.
you might see me in the wings there.
There we go.
I'll definitely be there.
There we
We'll
go,
look
man.
for you,
Hey,
man.
Steve, appreciate it, man.
Thanks.
Guys, hey, love you guys. Appreciate you guys, man. Hey, Boomer Sooner, bro.
Boomer Sooner, man. Have a good
All
night.
right.
Boomer
You
Sooner.
bet.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Take care. Man, great stuff from Steve there, Jay.
Oh, yeah. He's the best.
Yeah, and look, next year, you got Kendall Daniels, Marvin Jones Jr. On the defensive side out of the portal. You got the number 2 guy out of the portal with Mateer. The adjustments they've brought guys in adjustments-wise. You're going to have a new DC and a new OC. It's make or break next year, Jay. And I think that was the plan going in the offseason was you heard that they're going to give them all the resources needed. Now, I think there's still some that people wanted to see more like O-linemen but again, the young guys, it's going to have to see what happens at the young guys, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I think there's a couple position groups going into next year. I think defensive-wise, I think everybody feels pretty good, no matter who comes in as DC.
I don't think anyone – secondary, you got to see who the other corner is, though.
True, and maybe depth at linebacker. I think they could use another linebacker. But offensively, it's tight end. And I'm still –
Running back.
next year, who's the running back going to be? I mean,
with DeMarco Murray, that's the problem, Jay. I think if you really true serum to everyone, it's Joe John Finley, DeMarco Murray, those 2 position groups.
Yeah, and obviously it starts with O-line. I mean, O-line next year, so it's the massive thing that has to be a lot better. What's it going to be? Is it going to be, are they going to go with the youngsters? Are they going to go with, because I think Ozida got a lot better the more he played. I even think Hallam got a lot better the more he played. But Fasusi's tearing up camps. He's playing in the Polynesian Bowl. We'll see how he does there. But can he start as a true freshman?
Yeah.
Will he start? I mean, there's a lot of questions there still. So we'll see. But
yeah, wagon is rolling. Hey, Steve got the wagon rolling. Jump on in, everybody. And hey, I did see the comment from 918 in Hall of Fame about McCarthy was a 5-star. He was. He didn't play like one for most of his career. He had a phenomenal last year at Michigan. Man, but Jay, I personally would rather see Notre Dame win this, but we'll talk about it more. Hey, Marcus says Twins for the wins. Thanks, everybody, for being on here. It was a great night. Appreciate you being on here. And we'll do this tomorrow night because we do it every night. You got the NFL playoffs on tap. You got Monday night, the Natty Championship. And then you got where OU is going to go with the DC. So we're here for it. Make sure you join us. Hit the like before you leave. We appreciate you all. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a super Saturday.